Not long before she lost her head, Marie Antoinette was frolicking through a faux farmy cottage in a cotton costume, milking fake cows in a silk apron while real-life peasants outside her gates starved to death. I guess the cows were actually real, but the whole thing was just fake AF. Flash forward to today, and we have the same thing happening again. We have influencers baking sourdough bread in $20,000 ovens, posing barefoot in linen dresses on their 300-acre hobby farms, and selling you the aesthetic of hardship while wearing privilege like perfume. This video is about why in America the rich are pretending to be poor and why we love it for them and keep eating it up.
Ready on the set? Let's try this again.
I'm Jenny Gage, and this is Life Take 2. I'm Jenny. Thanks for watching. I really want to hear from you in the comments on this one, so I will be hanging out down there to hear what you think, because everything is driving me crazy right now, and I was never driven crazy before. Take a time machine back to 1984, 1995, 2003. I was happy and I thought the world was an amazing place, and I no longer think that at all. And my personal happiness is compromised by the fact that America and the economy and community and society in general just sucks. My paycheck in 2025 does not go nearly as far as my paycheck went in 1995. And I'm sick of it. And class division is a big cause of this. So let's talk about royalty. Royals are intriguing when the peasants are happy and fed, but when the life of the serfs turns ugly and we start to starve, we tend to revolt and guillotine the rich. Speaking of the guillotine, Marie Antoinette is a really fascinating historic monarch, and I personally find her homesteading house-fraught era stunning in its tone-deaf ridiculosity. Her Hamlet at Versailles, let me see if I can pronounce this in French, Le Hameau de la Reine, was a highly stylized country fantasy village. Fantasy being the key word here, where she and her ladies-in-waiting would play peasant. But unlike a real working farm, it was more a theatrical set piece than a practical homestead. That said, she did keep real animals there. They were all carefully chosen to maintain the illusion of rural life. Let's talk about those animals for a minute, because I think that this is interesting. Le Hameau. Somebody from France, help me out, had cows, real cows, and not just any cows. They were carefully washed and brushed daily to appear photogenic and clean enough for a queen. And these cows were often used for stage milking sessions where Marie would wear a silk muslin dress and pretend to be a milkmaid. Okay, they also had goats and sheep. There were decorative breeds of sheep and goats that roamed the pastures, and these were exotic and ornamental varieties, prized more for their looks than for their utility. So she had like all the cool goats and the cool sheep. And the sheeps were sometimes perfumed and ribboned for visual effect. So these weren't farm animals. They had French perfume. Donkeys and ponies were used for light labor and for cart rides around the grounds, adding to that pastoral fantasy. How fun is that to go into your little backyard hamlet or hameau, hop into a little wooden cart, and have a donkey pull you around just for kicks? Then there were ducks and chickens to complete the village aesthetic, pigeons, and possibly some pigs. Despite the cotton gowns and donkey carts, France's working class was fed up. Vive la Revolution and all of that. So Marie Antoinette is no more. And as we know, peasants left Europe in droves in the 17 and 1800s, in part because of the class differences, the lack of opportunity, and these hungry peasants fled en masse to, guess what? America, the new frontier, a land full of land, a land full of opportunity. And here's the twist. They didn't come here to stay peasants. That wasn't their purpose. They came here to own land, to build, to escape the performance of class and claim something real. And for a while, that's what America sold us all, the fact that we could go from rags to riches. And I'm here to tell you that the era of the American dream is, and the truth is, today's rich are richer than Louis XIV and Marie Antoinette could have ever dreamed. The powdered wigs have just been swapped for Patagonia vests, but the wealth gap, it's wider than ever. Elon Musk is literally bouncing into space for fun while I'm over here at risk of getting bounced from my condo because I don't know if I can scrape rent together by the 1st of August. But this isn't just a return to aristocracy. It's a hybrid capitalistic remix. It's a mashup. And the mashup is getting weirder and weirder to me. And I wonder if it's getting weird to you too. You see, we're not a land of peasants anymore. We're a land of precarious laborers and vanishing middle-class dreams. That American dream, the promise that hard work leads to stability, dignity, comfort, maybe even prosperity, is no longer accessible to most Americans. It's become a curated illusion, and it's now sold by the very people who have robbed us of that dream. They have climbed the ladder and pulled it up behind them, and none of us are ever going to be able to reach it again. And honestly, we are right back to Marie Antoinette's little Hamlet with rich people pretending to be poor people. And I just wonder, how did we get back here? How did we circle all the way back to rich women in aprons pretending to churn butter for the internet while real working class people are eating expired eggs and praying, literally praying that the rent clears? And now we have all these people on Medicaid. They're about to lose their ability to go to their doctors, their ability to get the prescriptions that keep them alive. Here's what I think most of us don't realize. Even though the American dream is no longer accessible to anyone but multi-generational landowners and legacy elites, the people at the top still need us to believe in it. Can I say that again? The people at the top still need us to believe in the American dream. They need us working, they need us buying, and most of all, they need to keep us from rebelling. They know they can't just go full-blown Versailles on us. Let them eat cake didn't end well for Marie, and it won't end well for them either. So instead, the ultra-rich are still selling us a version of the American dream that looks like it's just within reach. It's like a DIY fairy tale, a curated shabby chic fantasy. And for just 3 easy payments, you can buy a tiny slice of it from them. Baked into a loaf of sourdough, sewn into a gingham apron, filtered through your latest iPhone. And part of their magic trick is that they're wearing disguises now. Disguises that look like us. They smile at us through our screens, dressed down, sun-kissed, holding chickens or babies or fresh-cut flowers, and we start to believe the lie. They're just like us. And if they're just like us, maybe we can become just like them. Because America was formed as a land where anyone could be someone, a land flowing with milk and honey and gold and fields of wheat for all to eat, a nation formed by rebels who overthrew the monarchy. We've always demanded that our successful people look more like everyday people. We didn't have a culture of powdered wigs, tiaras, gold-trimmed carriages. That's European. That's what we all fought to get away from, right? Our president wears a suit, not an ermine cape and a crown. That's elitist. That's them. That's the old way. That didn't work out. In America, even our billionaires wear jeans. They drive pickup trucks. They go on Joe Rogan and talk about freedom. And these days, people richer than Prince Charles are cosplaying working class values while sitting on generational wealth. And we, the people at the bottom, we don't want to see the class divide because seeing it would mean admitting that the American dream is dead. This is big, guys. Not one of my 4 kids owns a home. Not one of them has any retirement. My oldest son is 28 years old. I was a homeowner at age 20 in 1995. Most people are barely getting by, and we're all swimming in debt. Let's see, the total credit card debt in America today is estimated at $1.21 trillion. That's about $6,700 per credit card holder on average. We are not okay, and that tends to make us mad at the rich historically. So the trend today among the wealthy is full-blown everyday Joe cosplay, with ultra-rich bending themselves into shapes that look like us. They put on ball caps and flannel shirts and go on camera talking about hard work while paying people under the table to harvest their organic tomatoes in their agricultural empire. And we eat it up because in America, we don't want royalty. We want everyday Joe to attain the American dream. And because of that, we now have rich people pretending that they're not. And let me tell you, there's a lot of pretending out there. Take Ballerina Farm. Now, on their website, it says everything is made on the farm. Here's a quote from the website. Delicious meats, handmade baked goods, delicious pantry staples, fresh baked sourdough bread products, and thoughtful houseworks from our farm to your door. It's this picture-perfect image of American labor. Like this young couple pulled themselves up by their bootstraps and they're making all this stuff on their farm, and there you go. But I've been to the farm. And one thing leapt out at me, the baked goods. There was just a very small barn, and there was just a very small house, and there's no other buildings on the property. There's nothing that looks like an industrial kitchen full of the chefs that are supposedly making those chocolate stuffed croissants. So I emailed Ballerina. And here's what they said. Hello, Jenny. Thanks for reaching out. Our frozen baked goods are made locally in the Camas area. That's not the same as being made on the farm. Not at all. And they live in this tiny little house. Like they just bought this old rustic thing and got to work building this farm. But that house actually looked a totally different way before they spent a lot of money remodeling it. The original purchase of the farm was $2.97 million. They put several $100,000 into the initial remodel. They took a kitchen that was just this 1980s kitchen and they gutted it and they made it look rustic like that. That's not just some old house that they just happened to be in. They have the money to have a huge, massive chef's kitchen, and they don't. This is intentional. This is Marie Antoinette's Hamlet. Hannah does videos where she wears this ripped dress. There's a rip underneath her armpit, and that's very intentional. The camera zooms in on that. It's part of the illusion. It's part of the act. She has this little farm. She's making the sourdough. She's a stay-at-home mom. I can attain that. I can do that too. Their net worth is literally in the tens of millions of dollars, and she wears this little ripped little house on the prairie dress like it's some Depression era vlog. The website also says that their wild children are homeschooled by their mother, which is interesting because I have talked to a family member of their school teacher who works for them. She's employed by them. Hannah's not homeschooling those children, but again, this is part of the aesthetic. This is fake cows and goats with perfume, because she wants those people who are homeschooling their kids to think, you can do this. And as long as they can project this image, as long as they can look poor, rustic, humble, like they're just scraping by on hard work and prayer. I mean, come on. She doesn't have cupboards in her kitchen. They have nothing. As long as they can project this image, we still love them because they're one of us. And when we buy their products, when we go to their farm stand, when we consume their content on social media, it feels like we're supporting a real life working class family. The sweet little mom of 8 just trying to make it in America. It tricks us into rooting for the underdog when in reality, we're funding the empire. And that empire is now just selling the rest of us back the American dream as a lifestyle brand. And none of us can achieve it. And they're not living this lifestyle. They're just marketing it, wrapped in gingham, filtered in sepia, and sold at $149 a box. Kylie and Kris Jenner go to a car wash for the first time, wearing sweatpants and hoodie that look like they picked them up at Walmart. They shop at Rite Aid, something that we peasants can relate to. They occasionally downplay their wealth to blend in with us. In 2019, Kim K and Kanye, boy was that a fun couple, did a photo shoot in a regular home, just doing regular stuff, like they were eating bowls of cereal. They were posing on worn-out couches, and it drew some controversy. They're not like us. We know. We've seen too much Keeping Up with the Kardashians. There's even a phrase in the fashion industry for this. It's called poor core. Poor core, by the way, is when like Bill Gates goes into his Seattle area Home Depot wearing cut-off khaki shorts and a t-shirt that's covered in paint, so that he can pick up some supplies for a project, and his shoes have holes in them. That's poor core. When in reality, like, I am poor core. Poor core is people who don't know if they're going to be able to pay their rent on August 1st. And here's the reality. They're not just playing dress up for fun. They are strategically performing poverty while hoarding generational wealth, and they're doing it to trick us, and it's working. We are funding their billionaire lifestyles with every click, with every follow, with every purchase from Amazon, and we're starving out our own peasant class by doing so. I think it's time to let them eat the fucking cake. Stop letting the billionaires cosplay as peasants. Stop buying into their humble luxury lies. Stop letting their curated suffering distract you from your own real struggle. It's time to stop worshiping the rich. Stop helping them sell the fantasy back to us. Let them buy their own shit. Let them farm their own land. Let them raise their kids without your sympathy, your dollars, or your views. Because every time we give them our attention, our admiration, our money, we are killing our own American dream. What we really need right now is a little tea party, the Boston Harbor kind, in protest to tariffs and taxes from the elites. Not a performative protest, but a real revolution of attention, consumption, and community. I've been boycotting Amazon for 6 years. I've only ordered a few things. They were medical supplies and necessities that I could not obtain anywhere else. I wear small batch clothes from a mostly woman-owned and woman-produced brand. I'll put the link in the description. I'm not sponsored by them because I just want them to make the money. They don't have to pay me to buy their clothes. I've had this romper for like 3 years now. I haven't been to a movie theater for years because I'm boycotting Hollywood. I also try not to pay to stream movies. I own 7 pairs of shoes total. 7. That's it. I do have a pair of shoes that's about to wear out. I'm going to have to replace it, but I don't go for fast footwear. I buy my food from farmers whenever I can. We have a big market locally that I can walk to here in my hometown in Arizona, and I can't afford to buy everything from the farmers market, but one day a week, we mostly local. I've almost completely stepped out of the personal care and beauty industry. I make most of my own stuff. I wash my face with honey, and I only buy jewelry from makers. I'll put the Instagram for my Navajo artisan who works with her uncles, who did this beautiful ring for me. And I do not follow or buy from billionaires. Not because I'm perfect, but because I'm awake. And if you're watching this, I know you are too. So here's your call. Unfollow, unlike, untangle your life from their profit margins, and then buy from your neighbor. Feed your local farmer by buying his lettuce and his milk. Thrift whatever you can. Give things away to people who actually need it. I'm always exchanging stuff with my friends and neighbors. Vote the bastards out, all of them. Support the artist, the mom, the kid selling cookies on the corner. If you have the choice of a corporate store or a small family-owned, choose family-owned every time. Every time. Here in my hometown, there's a little chicken shop called Tucson Chicken, and I will go there over Cane's 10-1 because I want to support that small family store. We have to build back the American dream from the bottom up. They're not going to do it for us. Why would they? They have all the money. They have no incentive. They're not going to help us. Nobody's coming to help us. It starts here. Let them eat their own fucking cake. We've got a revolution to start. Resist till we die, ladies. I'll be hanging out in the comments to hear from you.